This time,
Rough water.
on Sydney Harbour Force.
We had 3 kayakers go out. One of them's gone missing.
Marine Rescue Unit Commander Greg and his crew battle rough seas
We got strong winds. We got a big swell.
to search for a missing kayaker along Sydney's rocky coastline.
I just hope they haven't capsized.
A harbour tragedy
A man in his 50s has been killed at a wharf in Rozelle.
puts construction rigger Dylan and his team on edge
We have older boys that knew him personally, so, you know, it does hit close to home.
as they race to deliver a monster crane in a violent electrical storm.
Whoa, where's this going? Where's this going?
And urgent bridge maintenance 130 metres above the harbour
You don't want to be scared of heights doing this job.
leaves team leader Murph and his rigging crew facing electrical danger.
The whole thing's full of water, man. And it's starting to smoke a bit.
No, just stay there, mate. Just don't move.
Iconic Sydney Harbour. It's one of the biggest and busiest waterways on the planet.
You need to move through, please.
But behind the beauty lies a beast.
Being on the water is a dangerous place. Sydney Harbour's most unforgiving.
Hands.
Keeping this giant harbour running takes an elite team.
Stop the vessel now.
Being in the water police, you never know what you're going to get.
It's a boat. Someone's sitting on the bow.
The office is the best city in the world.
Currently, 2 kayakers sitting off South Head. They've lost contact with the 3rd kayaker. They haven't seen him since 10:30.
10:30.
Further details which we'll pass on to you.
Marine Rescue's Unit Commander Greg Urand and his crew have received an emergency tasking to search a 7-kilometre stretch along Sydney's notoriously rugged coastline, looking for a missing kayaker in rough 4-metre seas.
We've got 3 kayakers that left from Watson's Bay. One of them has gone missing.
Last seen 10:30. So it's 2 hours.
The crew's attempts at calling the missing man's mobile have been unsuccessful.
So you keep trying to call it, there's no answer?
So between South Head and Bondi.
Yeah, offshore south head of Bondi.
Rough water. Okay, here's a kayaker up here.
Greg has arranged to meet up with the missing man's friends
Yeah, 200 metres.
Yep, got him.
to see if they can shed any more light as to his whereabouts.
Has he got a life jacket on as well? Is he in a kayak similar to yours? What colour is it?
We last saw him south of Diamond Bay.
Diamond Bay.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy is very experienced?
Yeah, it's very
Very experienced? Okay.
happy for 15 years, 20 years.
Okay, and so how old is he?
68.
Is there any chance he would have come in earlier than you guys? Unlikely.
Okay, we're going to go look for your mate, Michael, and if we find him, we'll give you a call. If you hear from him as well, give us Sydney a call, and we'll try and sort that out for you, okay?
Sure, well, should we wait here or should we go back in?
Head back in.
I've said to them to go back to Watson's Bay,
Great.
just in case he's there.
Right, we are looking for somebody. This is no duff.
The man was last seen near the notoriously steep cliffs at Diamond Bay Reserve, where 12 months ago, Marine Rescue were involved in the search for a young British tourist who fell 80 metres to her death.
So it's a bit hard with the grey skies and the waves are a bit choppy. So you could be looking at it 1 second and the wave comes in and you might not be able to see someone.
Timing is critical. The man has been missing for over 2 hours and the choppy sea swell is hampering the search effort.
So we just have to keep a lookout everywhere, just keep looking out just in case we miss something on the waves.
Guys, just keep your lookout, okay?
I just hope they haven't capsized.
Just watch yourselves, guys.
A little bit more, mate, a little bit more.
This 250-tonne crane will be assembled with a jib that's just over 50 metres tall. Once assembled, it will be the biggest floating crane on Sydney Harbour.
Back inside the harbour at Polaris Marine Construction Yard, building engineer Stephen Richmond is assembling a monster crane barge.
They're all been designed to put together, these cranes, they go together pretty well.
Its mission will be to increase the water depth at Australia's biggest cruise ship terminal.
As you know, guys, the Sydney Overseas Passenger Terminal has increased in vessel attendance over the years, and the class of ships is getting larger, so this job will enable larger ships to come into the Overseas Passenger Terminal in Sydney.
Every year, Sydney Harbour welcomes over 300 cruise ships from around the world. Over time, sediment build-up at the Overseas Passenger Terminal has gradually raised the sea floor, creating a berthing hazard for larger ships. To reverse this, Stephen's team must drive a series of interlocking metal sheets into the bedrock, creating a submerged retaining wall. The sediment will be dredged out, making the berthing area deeper before a concrete base will be installed.
I'm looking down the line, man. The line looks pretty good.
We've got 1 hour to go before the tide's at the right height to roll on.
But first, the team has to finish assembly of the 250-ton crane so it can be transferred onto a floating barge and transported to the cruise ship terminal.
Oh, nah, don't go too much.
So you got to dedicate like one dogman. Today it's me. You got the crane driver driving, and I'll be telling him everything that he needs to do.
Crane dogman Dylan Short has a 10-minute window where the tide is at the right height to roll the 7-metre wide crawler crane onto the 500-ton barge.
Just sit yours down and I can play around with this end.
So imagine this block of wood here is the barge. We need to get the barge at the right height on the wharf, so when the crane rolls onto the barge, as it applies weight, it'll level out and roll on nice and even. If we miss that tide, we've got to wait for the next high tide. If we fall behind, it could potentially cost tens of thousands of dollars a day. We'll do some final checks and measurements, and then we'll start rolling on.
The harbour water level must be the exact height, otherwise the crane will topple over, crushing workers and damaging the $2 million machine.
We've done a lot of engineering checks, there's a lot of calculations. If we get it wrong, the unthinkable can happen and we end up with an incident like a crane in the water.
Okay, just hold it there. We just got to spin it, mate. Righto, start kicking it in. Give us about 200-300 jib up. Righto, mate. Yep, right there, hold it there.
The team have successfully manoeuvred the crane onto the barge without incidents. They can now complete the assembly.
Keep going down, nice and easy, mate. Hook down and stop. It's just like a puzzle. It's all pins and part A goes to part B. Yeah, we got a jib section coming.
The final part of the puzzle is connecting the 50-metre long tower known as a jib, bringing the height of the harbour's biggest floating crane to 60 metres.
When you're ready, lads, go for gold.
We'll take the barge over to Glebe Island, load it up with the sheet piles, before we continue on to the Overseas Passenger Terminal.
With assembly complete, the barge must now pick up the sheet piles needed to build the retaining wall from Glebe Island. This will involve travelling through the narrowest part of the harbour, the Glebe Island Bridge. From there, the crane can complete its journey to the Overseas Passenger Terminal in Circular Quay.
Our barge is 18.3 metres wide and the bridge gap is about the same.
The Glebe Island Bridge, a decommissioned swing span bridge built back in 1903, is one of the harbour's historic treasures.
Running into a heritage listed bridge in the harbour would be a very bad day.
And Skeeter, we'll get you to go 1 engine, bear weight.
Skeeter 1 engine, fair weight.
Yeah, we'll go to the port, fire it, thanks mate.
Tugmaster Matt Wills has the task of guiding the monster payload through the narrow 18-metre gap.
The barge itself is probably weighing in at about 700 tonne at the moment. The crane itself's a 250-tonne crane, so a lot of weight on the barge. And Skeeter, we'll get you to lean on, bear weight.
You're inside of a port. Bobby, Skeeter.
Each side of the barge we have Probably about 3 inches. Skeeter all stop.
Skeeter all stop.
So the idea is to line the barge up with the bridge. I'm just in neutral now. I'm just letting the wind behind us just push us through. The reason I use the wind to come through the bridge is because if I use the horsepower of the tug and the barge was to grab on the bridge, we'd end up tearing the bridge down.
Go, broadside. Pretty much scraping on the starboard. Michael, the missing kayaker, has headed further offshore, possibly about a naught mile, and they have not seen him since 30.
Just make sure you keep a lookout for anything that may be upside down or floating in the water.
Yeah, we're looking for a missing kayaker. He's in an orange and yellow colours.
Marine Rescue's Unit Commander Greg Urand is leading a search for a kayaker, missing for over 2 hours in choppy 4-metre waves off Sydney.
We're just starting to come into Diamond Head now, and Polaris going to send a helo out. They've asked us if we can do up and down patrols.
Keep your eyes out. If he is upturned, it will be very, very difficult for us to see him.
The Marine Area Command has tasked the Police Air Wing to conduct an aerial search of the area.
With Polaris, it will be good because we get eyes from the sky, so get a much wider search than what we're getting. Because we're down here and we're getting interrupted by the waves, so we can't really see that well. So with their assistance, that would be good.
At the moment, also Middle Harbour 30 is being tasked, is on the way.
Okay. We've got strong winds, we've got a big swell, and it's really choppy.
In the past 12 months, there have been 125 coastal drownings in Australia. And with the dangerous surf conditions, hopes of finding the kayaker alive are decreasing by the minute.
If he's upturned or if he's out of his kayak, he's in real trouble. We hope that he's sensible enough to have worn a life jacket and to keep the life jacket on, but who knows?
As you can see, the waves are smashing up against the rocks. So if he gets caught up in that, then it's not a good scenario.
Get ready to find some fishermen.
Fisheries law enforcement officers Joel Cox and Molly O'Halloran are targeting illegal fishing in Sydney Harbour.
There's definitely some times when it's been pretty hairy and there's lots of knives and tools and, you know, some pretty big guys kicking around, and they don't like being told that they're doing the wrong thing. Illegal fishing destroys the sustainable fish stocks in the harbour and impacts those whose livelihoods depend upon it. To help control this, it is against the law to fish without a licence. It's just a massive range of compliance that we're chasing. I mean, we've got everything from, you know, a couple of kids on a wharf, you know, all the way through to people out poaching in the middle of the night. In the past 12 months, over 3,000 offences have been recorded across Sydney. Got a couple of people on the wharf. Yeah, let's go on the wharf, eh? Morning, boys. How you doing? Just from New South Wales Fisheries, just come and see how you're doing with your catch.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Nothing?
Nothing, but I'm the
Do you have your fishing licence with you?
I don't know what the hell that is.
I'm just going to ask you some questions about your fishing today, OK? I'm going to caution you don't have to answer my questions if you don't want to, but anything you say I may record as evidence. Do you understand that?
Go for gold, sunshine. I'm listening. I'm all ears. You love it.
What time did you start fishing today?
What time did I start fishing today, roughly? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you.
Are you using just the one fishing rod, yeah?
Yeah, it's hard to use too, if you ask me.
Have you paid the recreational fishing fee, more commonly called a fishing licence, for New South Wales?
It's a hard question, you got me there. Put a maybe for that one.
Can you just tell your address for me, Paul?
I'll whisper it to you.
No, don't get too close to me.
OK, gents, you're both fishing in New South Wales and neither of you have a fishing licence. I'm going to tell you now it's a $200 fine each.
Port Jackson 3-1, give us your location so I can rendezvous to establish that search pattern, over.
Just outside the harbour, Marine Rescue Unit Commander Greg Urand and his crew are part of a major air and sea search, scouring a 7-kilometre area to find a missing kayaker.
as you can see, the waves are smashing up against the rocks. So if he gets caught up in that, then it's not a good scenario.
It's confirmed that he went up to a nautical mile offshore. They've asked us if we can do up and down patrol.
Sighted anything, guys?
Yep.
You got him?
Orange on the rocks.
Orange on the rocks?
I just saw orange on the rocks. Right, lost him there.
Okay, well, we know he's up there. Let's get there a bit quicker. Holding on, guys. Yeah, it looks like a bit of...
Can you see this?
Did you see kayak or person?
No, I saw a person in orange.
Okay, standing?
Yeah, on the rocks.
Okay.
Having potentially found the missing kayaker, radio operator Claire Draper tries calling his mobile phone again.
Yes, hi, my name's Claire from Marine Rescue Port Jackson.
Get right ahead. Yeah, up there, I've got him.
Is your name Michael? Hi, Michael, whereabouts are you? Watson's Bay. Oh, okay, so you have made it safe to shore.
Standing down.
Kayaker Michael has made it safely to shore inside the harbour. It's a huge relief for the rescue crew.
I'll see what that was.
Yeah, they were returning there as well. You might have beaten them there.
Oh, so they're fishing. Oh, they're all fishing.
I'll call your friends now and also let them know that you're safe at Watson's Bay. Are you at your vehicle or...? Okay, I'll let them know. Good to hear that you're safe, Michael. You're welcome. Bye. We have a happy ending.
Well, I tell you what, we can breathe a sigh of relief, I can tell you. The great news is he's back at back home.
Okay, gents, you're both fishing in New South Wales and neither of you have a fishing licence. I'm going to tell you now there's a $200 fine each for fishing without a licence.
I'll cop a fine?
That's generally what happens,
Come on, bro. But, do you know what I mean? Like, that shit goes straight out. No, we got the day off work. We want to have a good day to come fishing. Do you know what I mean? No, don't find me. Don't find me. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just a day off work. I thought I'll come, I'll dip my rod. I've never in my whole entire life been pulled up by anyone for fishing. This is honestly my first time.
Fisheries officers Joel and Molly have fined two men $200 each for fishing without a licence.
What can I do? I've got a couple on the chin, but I'll be dirty. I'll be dirty at the world. All I'm going to tell you is if I don't pull out a fish today, and I cop this $200 fine, then I'll be dirty. You better be checking the news, son. You better be checking the news. I'll tell you that much. You tell him. I'll tell you that much. You bring your camera back. What happens if he's come again and we're still fishing?
Then you can get another fine. Buy yourself a licence. $8 for 3 days.
Oh, you're good.
$35 for a year. Dropping in a few hairy situations where things could have taken a bad turn. With some good talking, we've been able to calm the situation down. You know, unfortunately, they didn't bother to get themselves a fishing licence before they came out, and it's going to turn into an expensive day for them. That's $400 between them.
Extremely tight squeeze.
Tugmaster Matt Wills is manoeuvring a 750-tonne floating crane barge through the extremely narrow passage of Glebe Island Bridge. Any mistake could result in permanent damage to the historic structure.
No room for error here. A lot of weight on the barge. Beautiful. Skeeter, you can start landing on and we'll spin this around.
But the toughest task of the day is still to come. 50 interlocking steel sheet piles must be lifted onto the barge and transported to the harbour's cruise ship terminal.
Winds are bringing our head in fairly quickly.
Construction of the underwater retaining wall must start at nightfall when the harbour traffic is quiet. But high winds and the threat of a storm may delay the operation, costing thousands of dollars.
She's going to be like a sail, so we'll pick that up, the wind will hit it, and that'll blow it out of radius and all the rest of it, which is high risk.
Each 18-metre-long sheet pile weighs 3.7 tonnes, a combined weight of 25 tonne per load. But the strong winds impose an extra load, which can affect the stability of the crane.
Just jib it down a little bit.
So we're going to have to take things pretty slow in this wind and just keep an eye on things.
A little bit more, mate, a little bit more. Oh, no, that'll do.
They've still got 6 or 7 stacks to load on tonight. And then, of course, wet weather with steel makes it slippery.
The windy rain conditions delay the load for several hours. But as night falls, project manager Nathan Herbert calls for work to urgently stop.
You guys are obviously aware of the incident today.
News of a tragic accident at a neighbouring construction yard has reached the team.
A man in his 50s has been killed at a wharf in Rozelle. He was working on a barge when the accident happened. It's believed he was hit by a heavy object. Officers are investigating.
Everyone's a little bit on edge.
We have older boys that knew him personally, so, you know, it does hit close to home.
It's always pretty sobering to hear about things like this. We had a bit of a stop and chat about the risks of the industry that we work and just spare a moment for the bloke that lost his life and his family and people that are hurting right now.
Don't want to be out there, that's fully understandable. If you need to come have a coffee, have a breather, just do it. It's better that than having a lapse in judgment out there.
You introduce the low lighting and now you got the weather and you got the heavy big lifts. It's definitely not where you want to be at the moment.
The weather's really setting in now. Pressure's obviously on to get this all loaded up and get over to site tonight, so try and stay on program.
We've got to get the job done at the end of the day, we just have to do it safe.
Despite the nearby tragedy, the team continue to persevere through the storm. A delay in the schedule will cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, hook down, meter dip down. Keep going some more.
Difficult to see out there, so you got to stay on top of those signals, mate.
The rain introduces a whole new set of risks. We're lifting an 18-metre sail essentially in the air. Once the barge starts to rock and that really starts swinging, it can be quite dangerous.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're not really supposed to be in the rain, are we? Whoa, where's this going? Where's this going? Keep up, keep up. Can you hear me?
It's using a thermal imaging camera to look at the shoreline. It should pick up if there's any fishermen there in the dark. Molly, I think there's 2, maybe 3 people there, just on the concrete platform.
Definitely worth having a look at.
Yeah. Patrolling Sydney Harbour at night has its own unique set of challenges. We're jumping off onto a lot of commuter wharves. They're usually not very well lit. You never know who you're going to run into in the middle of the night, and obviously most fishermen carry knives, so you've always got to have your wits about you.
With illegal fishing on the rise in Sydney Harbour, Fisheries officers Joel Cox and Molly O'Halloran are using the cover of darkness to surprise would-be offenders on the ferry wharves.
Evening, New South Wales Fisheries officers. OK, we're coming to check your catch. OK. Have you caught anything?
Some squid.
Some squid? OK. Yep, 2 squid. Yep.
So patrolling wharves of an evening in our fisheries patrol vessel has a huge advantage. People can't see us coming and they're not expecting us generally at night. So we get really good results.
There's a problem tonight. Yeah. The problem is you're not allowed to take squid from here. Oh. This is an aquatic reserve. Do you understand that?
The North Harbour Aquatic Reserve is designed to protect biodiversity in the area. It's illegal to catch marine invertebrates, such as squid.
OK. So I'm going to have to seize these squid that you have. You have the 2 squid in here. OK, I'm going to put them back in the water. You need to remove, stop using the squid jigs. First time, I'm going to give you a warning not to do it again. If I find your name, it says you've been told before, then it's a $500 penalty. Do you understand that?
Yeah, sure.
We've got a few more fishers up here in the corner.
Good evening. How are you with New South Wales Fisheries? I'm just doing licence and catch check.
Yeah, I fish.
Have you got your fishing licence, sir?
Yes. I thought yellowtail.
No, it's not yellowtail, it's tailor. Yeah, so tailor needs to be 30 centimetres.
Yeah.
Tailor, also known as bluefish around the world, can live up to 9 years, but they don't reach maturity until they grow over 30 centimetres, which is the legal catching length.
And this is coming in well under.
Oh.
28
So I
centimetres.
thought yellow tailor.
Well, it's not, it's Tailor.
Oh.
And this one's under 2, so that's coming in at 28.7. Okay, so they're both prohibited size. Tailor.
Yeah.
And you have committed a fisheries offence. So yellowtail have yellow tails. That's how you know, and these Tailor don't. If it's dark and you can't tell what fish you're catching, then you shouldn't be fishing, okay? Have you been spoken to by Fisheries before?
Yeah.
You have been in trouble with Fisheries before?
Yeah.
Be receiving a $500 fine tonight.
In the past 12 months, fines for illegal fishing have totaled almost $900,000. The last stop on Joel and Molly's patrol are the ferry wharves next to the Harbour Bridge.
How you doing, mate? Have you got your fishing licence on you?
I'm underage.
How old are you?
17.
17. All the more reason not to be calling me love. When you turn 18, you need a fishing licence.
This guy had a rod was standing with a rod when we pulled up in the boat over there.
This guy was?
And then he walks off round there with his phone.
My colleague saw you with a fishing rod in your hand. Excuse me, sir. My colleague saw you the fishing...
I'm not talking to you.
Well, you do have to talk... Excuse me. Hey.
Where's the last time I called you? I'm not talking to you.
You need to have a fishing licence on you. You were fishing.
Keep going some more. Whoa, where's this going? Where's this going? Keep up, keep up. Can you hear me? It's pretty dodgy, man. I think it'll be all right. That's it. Last load.
Despite the stormy conditions, Dogman Dylan and the construction team complete their sheet pile load and start making their way from Glebe Island to the overseas passenger terminal in Circular Quay.
We're pretty much flush now at the bow of the barge with the northern poles. Okay, mate, up on the hook.
Yeah, it looks a lot bigger when it's in the air, doesn't it? Yeah. So the sheet piles need to be hoisted vertically, and then they'll be driven into the harbour sediment to form the sheet pile wall.
Project manager Nathan Herbert and his team must drive each 18-metre long sheet pile 10 metres into the harbour floor to be able to create a rigid interlocking retaining wall which will allow the harbour floor to be deepened to accommodate some of the biggest cruise ships in the world.
From a safety perspective, we're going to have guys under live loads, pitching sheet piles. We want to have the conditions as calm as we can.
Circular Quay is Australia's busiest ferry terminal. The team must keep a close eye on vessel traffic. Even the smallest wave from ferry wash can swing the 3.7-tonne payload uncontrollably over the riggers' heads.
That's when all the ferry wash and that starts coming into play. They'll pitch the piles and send it over. I'll be clutching them into the sheets. They connect together, form a wall.
Get you to jig down, a metre and a half, please.
Righto, mate, jibbing down.
A little bit more.
Situated in the middle of the danger zone, Dylan must guide each interlocking sheet pile into position. He must work in perfect synchrony with crane driver Gary Penman to get the 10 sheets in tonight to remain on schedule.
We're looking pretty good.
I'll just get you to put the vibrator on the sheet for us.
No worries, mate.
And they'll sit it on top. They'll zip this one right down.
Righto, mate, go ahead, start vibrating.
All right, sweet. Righto, man, straight down, bros.
A vibrating hammer exerts up to 175 tonnes of pressure in order to drive each sheet pile 10 metres into the bedrock of the harbour floor. Failing to reach the required depth will compromise the stability of the underwater retaining wall and delay the operation.
So we need that required sediment depth in order to keep these the 3.7-tonne sheet piles stable. So we need to get 10 sheet piles in every night. Obviously going to be a lot of pressure on the boys.
Gaz, I think we've hit rock, mate.
Gonna make it hard now.
No, you don't want to be scared of heights doing this job. No, I think you're 50 odd metres above the water level here, so she's a fair way down when you're at the top there, that's for sure.
Sydney Harbour Bridge electrician Anthony Murphy is leading an urgent lighting repair job 130 metres above the water.
We'll go straight to the metal halides, that's our job tonight.
21 floodlight bulbs have blown, plunging the top of the iconic landmark into darkness.
We try and keep it as well illuminated as possible. As you can imagine, it's a pretty big Sydney icon, so we try and make it look as good as we possibly can.
Known locally as the Coat Hanger, the largest steel arch bridge in the world is also one of the most photographed. So it's crucial Murph and his specialist rigging team get the faulty lights back up and running.
When it does come loose, though, you should be able to near just swing it straight into me and part should have enough slack. Yeah, the bulbs are pretty resilient. This bulb probably hasn't been, it'd be close to 2 years since we were last out here.
Wearing full abseiling harnesses, the ropes access team must remain tethered to the bridge at all times to avoid falling into the water below while they swing out over the harbour to access the lighting positions.
Use a short line on the rail there, just so I don't slip over. Pop the bottom out.
Yeah, mate, just at the bottom.
Oh, there we go, got it.
Yep. If you just hold it there,
yep.
Like yeah, so everything we do is got to be lashed on.
80 metres below, the road deck sees over 30,000 cars crossing the bridge each night.
Really critical that nothing falls off this bridge. You can't really afford to get complacent, not when you're working at heights like this. So it's just fired up now. So one down, plenty to go.
Yeah.
So the next one will be 10.
There are 362 lights positioned throughout this iconic steel structure. Lamp number 10 is located 130 metres at the very top, suspended out over the edge.
Yeah, this one's quite hard to access, so hopefully the rope access boys will be able to get out to it and get it sorted out for us. Fingers crossed they can get to it, because, yeah, she's a bit too old out there for me.
Adding to the degree of difficulty, a thunderstorm is closing in.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that lightning. Start seeing a lightning storm, we're going to pull the pin. The boys at TMC are pretty good. They normally give us a heads up if something nasty's heading our way. So that one right out in the middle. So this is one of the ones that we can't normally access for obvious reasons.
I'm gonna need you just here, Mickey. I haven't got loads of extra cable to work with.
Yeah.
The whole thing's full of water, man. And it's starting to smoke a bit.
Right, I'll get that isolated, mate.
Yeah.
The 250-watt high-pressure sodium lamp is full of water, with 240 volts of electricity flowing through it. Murph orders the power to be shut down before his team go near it.
We'll get it isolated and get it up here for a repair.
You need to have a fishing licence on you. You were fishing.
I wasn't fishing.
Yes, you were. My colleague saw you.
Fishing officers Joel and Molly are dealing with an uncooperative man suspected of fishing without a licence.
I don't have to show you. You've in my eyes, mate. We pulled up in the boat.
Show me.
I don't have to show you anything. I will use my eyes. That's how I write a written statement.
Well, I wasn't fishing.
You were standing with your back to us, mate. You didn't even see us get off the boat.
I was on the phone. I seen you. He told me.
You've got two. He had a rod and you had a rod. You're both standing there fishing.
I wasn't even touching my rod.
Oh, let me finish. As soon as you saw us, that rod got put next to his rod, you picked up your phone
and you walked over here. So.
Fishing without a licence accounts for 30% of all fishing offences on the harbour. Offenders face a $200 fine.
You need to speak to my colleague. She's asked for your name.
Take it down a notch. Do you have a fishing licence?
Not fishing.
So you don't have one. Do you have any other identification on you?
No, put it as I was fishing. Put it. It's all right. Because it's going to take ages and I'm taking off by now. As you're speaking.
So you were fishing?
I wasn't fishing, but I was literally taking off back in the boat.
Okay.
Can I what's a fishing license for? I'm just curious.
You need a fishing licence because you're accessing a shared resource and you need to pay to do that. So are you saying that that fishing rod isn't yours?
I'm not saying nothing anymore.
Okay.
Hey, give me a phone. Fine, just give me a phone.
Do you want to participate? Do you want to participate in the interview? Pardon?
Yeah, give me a phone. $200 right now.
All right. So the end result of that interaction was that I was able to calm him down, get his details off him, get admissions that he had been fishing without a fishing licence, and he will be receiving a $200 fine in the mail.
It's interesting what appears to be a pretty stock standard check of a fishing licence. Turns a bit crazy, guy didn't want to play ball, had his back to us the whole time when we came up in the boat and jumped off. Clearly had a fishing rod in his hand. As soon as he caught wind of us, puts the rod down, picks up his phone and walks behind a sign.
I think they might have to change the whole thing over. The plug socket's completely melted.
These ones are obviously very hard for us to access, so they get left out in the weather for extended periods of time.
On top of the bridge, electrician Anthony Murphy and his team have isolated the power after discovering water inside a high-pressure sodium lamp.
Yeah, it's isolated and I'd say it'll be cooked. Nothing there. She's dead. All right, let's go and pull that lamp holder out. Just get him to bring it up here, and then we'll be able to work him. The inside of that look nice and black and...
Yeah, it's all melted, yeah.
The contaminated water is poured into a container for safe disposal. Murph's quick thinking to shut down the power has avoided serious injury.
These are all protected by local fuses, circuit breakers, so there is a certain element of danger. That's why if we can isolate things to work on them, we do. At the end of the day, mate, we've all got a job to do, but we all want to go home to our families, so we just take the appropriate precautions where they're necessary.
The faulty light is repaired on site. Murph and his team have beaten the storm, fixing all 21 light fittings in a single shift, illuminating the harbour's famous landmark once again.
Yeah, it's on.
A little bit of a mixed bag tonight.
Oh, it's got to keep it interesting for you, so you can't have you just changing lamps and bloody make it too easy for you.
When they designed the bridge, I'm not sure if they designed it with maintenance in mind.
How many blokes does it take to change up light bulb?
How many of us is there? 2, 4, 6, 8. I was thinking we might get a bit wet there earlier, but no, Mother Nature's looked after and pushed it a little bit out to the west. So that was the last one on the list, lads, so we'll call it a night.
Something on comms, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. At the overseas passenger terminal, a dive team has been called to remove the rocks on the harbour floor, which have delayed the install of the underwater retaining wall.
Comms 1, 2, 3, 4, got me.
Have you got any spare eyes on board there, Tim, so you can show us?
Check your pin, son.
So we need to remove a few of those rocks that are down and around this area.
The dive team need to drill into the large rocks before securing a heavy-duty anchor point, allowing the crane to drag them clear of the work area.
You can see the crane continuously moving those rocks well away from our construction zone, so we've got a clear path.
Project supervisor David Mitchell is already 24 hours behind schedule. If they can't remove all the rocks, it will cause further delays on the multi-million-dollar project.
Going on the third rock now.
There's a lot down there. They're quite large. They're quite big blocks, like they're big, like building block kind of size. Could be around 500 kilos up to about 1.5, 2 ton.
As night falls, visibility for the dive team deteriorates, made even worse by the constant ferry traffic churning up silt from the harbour floor.
He's fairly close to seabed, so the visibility is not great.
Up on the rope.
Up on that, Jez. First diver's got about 25 minutes left.
Diver Jez has been working at a depth of 12 metres for over 2 hours. If he stays down much longer, he is at risk of potentially fatal decompression sickness.
Just give me a sec.
Jez makes it to the surface just in time, but there are still 3 more rocks to remove, and conditions below are getting worse.
I think with the ferries coming in and out, it doesn't help. In and out of visibility, I couldn't see a lot.
Second diver Ryan Sosso is brought in to complete the job.
It's not a job if you're claustrophobic or anything like that. If you're scared of dark spaces or anything like that, do not recommend it.
Left, send it that way, please.
Once we've moved a few of those rocks, that should create enough of a loosening up of effect. We'll be able to get the excavator in to scrape the rest out. Are you happy there? You want us to...
Yeah, so we're right lower.
With only a few smaller rocks blocking the area, the team bring in an excavator fitted with a ripper attachment to complete the task.
So the ripping bit just helps us break all that up into smaller pieces. He'll make like a trench after that. He's just finishing up. He's removed all the rocks and we can just get straight back into production and get this seawall knocked on the head.
Yeah, righto, mate. Slew around and we'll start hooking these sheets up.
Coming around now, mate.
With all obstacles hopefully removed, the final test is to see whether the vibrating hammer can push the next sheet pile the required 10 metres into the sea floor.
Let's get these last few sheets in, mate.
Mate, they're flying in, eh?
Hey, Dill, I can't believe this, mate. This vibrator's unreal, mate. It's going through those rocks like a hot knife through butter. They're smashing in now.
Once the wall is complete, the harbour floor can be dredged and made deeper, clearing the way for Sydney Harbour to welcome some of the largest cruise ships in the world.
Last one in, Cobbs. All done.
Shut it down, brother. Time for a beer.
Your shout, mate.
Another successful night. We've got a good team, so we've put our heads together and made it work.